Poison Fang going to be forcing the final shield from Charizard, and now Charizard's about to meet its worst nightmare. If you're wondering just how hard a check Nihilego is for Charizard, well, the first blast burn doesn't do 50% of our HP. We've got 2 shields remaining. We tank the second blast burn, we make the rock slide, and that's going to be all she wrote. GG's, and thanks for playing. Welcome back to the channel. Today we've got an incredibly spicy battle submission. You can see we've got a DDCA, we've got Trevenant double poison. These battles were submitted to the channel by StaaaL0rd. Huge shout out to StaaaL0rd. He actually finished second in the Indian Pokemon PvP regional qualifiers, so he's a very talented trainer. You can see on the screen, despite the coverage gaps, we've got pretty good coverage against the meta. However, some of the top threats are going to be something like a Gliscor, Walrein, or even someone running the double ice strategy. I think a alolan Sandslash in the back for this team would be a nightmare. But with that being said, let's see how good Nihilego functions in the Open Ultra League. Speaking of which, Pidgeot is an absolutely dreadful lead in game number 1. However, we can say switch into Nidoqueen. Another one of this season's buff Pokemon. As with a non-shadow variant, we easily survived the Brave Bird. Nidoqueen manages to draw out the Cobalion, which is absolutely beautiful. StaaaL0rd full sends the Earth Power, landing for huge damage. Seeing the GOAT Cobalion here is beautiful because Nihilego absolutely doesn't want to see it. The opponent throws the Sacred Sword, they undercharge, they double kick farm down. We can now come into Trevenant, commit to the Shadow Claw farm down, and hopefully this is the only poison answer, and then Nihilego can sweep the back line. StaaaL0rd gets the farm down and is spamming out into Nihilego. Pidgeot will be dipping instantly as it will be shitting its pants. The opponent's running double flyer. Nihilego out here in the 2 shield. Gonna have a pretty good time. Talonflame, much like Pidgeot, can only hit Nihilego for resisted rock. Not the best defensive typing, but it does resist flying and fire. We shield up the flame charge. Nihilego well ahead in energy, gonna fire off the second rock side. Does the Kentucky Fried Chicken Bird of Death invest the final protect shield? Yes, they do. StaaaL0rd gonna be investing his final protect shield here. Talonflame now 3 incinerates away from the next charge. This is gonna allow him to over farm. The first rock slide going to be one shot in this low health Talonflame, and StaaaL0rd daring the opponent to bring back out Pidgeot. Pidgeot about to catch that work, rock slide locked and loaded, and that's going to be all she wrote. GG's, and thanks for playing. Another dreadful lead. We see the pivot into Nidoqueen. This Obstagoon is staying in, looking to chip and dip. The opponent going to be firing off the Night Slash. Night Slash doesn't do too much. Nidoqueen really thick. StaaaL0rd over farms, fires off the Poison Fang on a CMP type. Poison Fang now doing more damage, however it doesn't really look like it. Obstagoon pretty tick, it tanked it really well. It's interesting that the opponent's staying in as they might be running double fairy, and just as I think that, the opponent brings out the first fairy type. Nidoqueen gonna fire off the Poison Fang, which lands for huge damage. Nidoqueen unfortunately doesn't make the second, however Trevenant now can come in. Could shield once, however it looks like we're going to tank the Moonblast. Moonblast does land for big damage. StaaaL0rd now committing. We don't quite get there. We snipe with Nihilego. I really want to see double fairy. However, the opponent's actually got their own Trevenant in the back. Nihilego fires the rock side on a CMP tie. We lose CMP. It looks like we're going to start investing protect shields. We shield up the Seed Bomb. We're going straight for the rock side. Trevenant users love to shield. The opponent actually lets it go, which is going to allow Nihilego to commit to the full poison jab farm down. We're going to be down 2 shields. However, Nihilego is going to leave loaded back out. Comes Obstagoon. We over farm. We're going for another rock slide bait. Does the opponent respect the damage? There's the first protect shield. We see the wham bam combo play into Trevenant. We fire off the Seed Bomb. Seed Bomb doesn't get the final protect shield. Obstagoon now going to dump energy. However, Obstagoon isn't doubled up on charge move. Night Slash takes us out. Can we get the jab farm down? No! Obstagoon on a sliver of HP fires off the Night Slash, and Night Slash secures the dub. GG's to that opponent. Moving on to the next one. Great lead and a very interesting counter swap from the opponent. Trevenant really dominant against Tapu Fini and pretty dominant against this Tin Can. The Tin Can didn't respect the Shadow Ball, and this big thick Tin Can that thinks it's the bulkiest mon in existence already down below 50% HP. StaaaL0rd continuing to over farm, firing off the second Shadow Ball. I thought we was going to go for a catch on Nidoqueen, however we just go for the Shadow Ball, securing the knockout, and it looks like we're spamming out into Nidoqueen. The opponent sends out Charizard. Charizard not going to have a good time with it. StaaaL0rd knows Nihilego is the win con. The opponent goes straight for a Dragon Claw, and that does absolutely nothing to then pivot out, doing us a huge favour, sending back out Tapu Fini into our loaded Queen. The opponent saving 2 shields for the Zard, thinking that's the win con, but my god is this opponent about to be sad. StaaaL0rd also saving 2 shields. We can just send back out Trevenant, get rid of this Tapu Fini. It looks like they might make a Surf before they go down. Again, the opponent survives on a Sliver, but this is just a Surf. Surf won't knock out. We've got the Shadow Ball locked and loaded, and it's going to be the first Protect Shield going in the bin. Charizard, ever since the Wing Attack buff, has been an absolute menace in the Ultra League. Having a really good time of it lurking in the back. However, today is not your day, trainer. StaaaL0rd continuing to hang on to 2 shields. The opponent builds up to what could be a Blast Burn, and again we see the no shield. The opponent going straight Dragon Claw. This Rock Slide will be forcing the final Protect Shield off the opponent, and guess what, trainer, there's plenty more of where that comes from. We make the next Rock Slide and we complete a very nice 2 shield flex. GG's and thanks for playing. Moving on to the next one, Trevenant into Haxorus. Pretty good lead as we do double resist the counter damage. We go straight Shadow Ball. The question is, does the opponent respect the damage? They do not, get absolutely wrecked. We see the instant pivot into Nidoqueen. The opponent momentarily brought out Charizard, and now they send out Virizion. My god, is this opponent fucked. Nidoqueen really dominant against Virizion, and we've already seen Nihilego, the absolute wall to Charizard. The opponent again saving 2 shields for Zard. Apparently in Ultra League, the win con is saved 2 shields for Zard. So if you're seeing players use that tactic a lot, I'd highly recommend using Nihilego. The opponent sends back out Charizard, but this Nidoqueen is absolutely loaded. We get the first Protect Shield with the Poison Fang. The opponent looks to farm down, but Nidoqueen says no, making Poison Fang number 2. The opponent now all shields down. StaaaL0rd pivots out as his switch timer pops up into Nihilego. The opponent full sends the Blast Burn. Nihilego says, is that all you've got? The opponent again at a Blast Burn, and we're not shielding. 2 Blast Burns don't knock out. We make the Rock Slide, and that's another 2 shield flex on the books. Nicely done. In the next battle we see alolan Ninetales, Fast Move Check, Powder Snow. This is going to be quite problematic as both Trevenant and Nidoqueen don't want to see it. We come into Nihilego, attempt to catch the Weather Ball. The opponent stays in, take a huge heap of Poison Jab damage, and then throw a resisted Dazzling Gleam. Interesting. They then answer with Giratina. So if you're in this situation, just swap into this stupid Giratina, as it's a pretty good check for Nihilego. There's no point in sacrificing your A9. However, we're going to take that. Nihilego lands 2 Rock Slides, the second one on a CMP tie. This Giratina is in a bit of an awkward health range. StaaaL0rd comes back into his Trevenant. This could be a Shadow Sneak. Do we respect it? Last second, we commit a shield and the opponent actually doesn't have the sneak. They throw the Ancient Power. We don't see a buff. The opponent, holy crap, how many times in this video does the opponent on 1 HP make a charge move? It's just a Dragon Claw, we tank that. We're down a shield. However, Trevenant is absolutely loaded. The opponent sends out Scrafty. We see the instant pivot into Nidoqueen. The opponent then sends out alolan Ninetales. Nidoqueen with a running start throws the Poison Fang. Poison Fang draws the first Protect Shield. StaaaL0rd can match, and that's exactly what he's going to do with the defense drop. We should now be able to Poison Jab farm them all the way down. Nidoqueen leaves with residual energy, and it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Fang now. However, before obviously it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The principle's still the same. Nidoqueen pretty thick in Ultra League. Foul play not going to be enough to knock out. Nidoqueen does survive. We fire off the Poison Fang and it looks like CMP. I don't think the opponents are back-to-back foul plays. This is a power-up punch. The opponent commits that final shield. If this is a power-up punch, we will survive. However, the opponent is dry. We can combo play, throw the Shadow Ball. Despite Shadow Ball being resisted, actually has more raw damage. We throw the Seed Bomb. It's not enough to knock out. However, we've got another one locked and loaded. And either way, we win that game. GG's. StaaaL0rd getting himself on a very nice run here. In the next battle, we see another yikes. Walrein does now beat Trevenant as they're straight 5s, and we actually take 6 to the first move. The opponent farms up 2-6, throw on the CMP tie. Seed Bomb goes unshielded. Let's see how StaaaL0rd plays this one. We might shield, then look to catch. He does shield. We're going to throw 4 and catch, I imagine. We do catch. However, we catch on Nidoqueen. This is super effective damage, and Nidoqueen is not going to appreciate the spear. Walrein, another Pokemon that did get the buff, so that actually does more damage. This big fat wall is super annoying for our team. StaaaL0rd commits the final shield, and no, they've got Gliscor. Not only is Gliscor a really hard check for Nidoqueen, it completely walls Nihilego as well. We throw the Poison Fang and that does absolutely nothing due to the ground type, and the opponent fires off the Night Slash. It doesn't knock out StaaaL0rd, now double debuffing this Gliscor. Gliscor actually commits a shield, a very questionable shield from the opponent. This could give us a chance. StaaaL0rd praying the opponent lets it go. They commit that shield. They're going to throw the Night Slash. No, trainer, what the heck is going on? The opponent gets really greedy, allowing Trevenant to make the Seed Bomb. We secure the knockout. No way is the opponent throwing this match. They send out Walrus. It gets farmed down. And my God, they've got Sylveon on the back. In a really non-disrespectful way, I think that is one of the worst mid-games I've ever seen in my life. And the opponent probably agrees as they concede the match. In the next battle, we see delphox in the lead. And it's shiny. Speaking of delphox, this is the only Shundo I have on my account, despite catching 220,000 Pokemon. We save switch into Nidoqueen, and my God, delphox hits hard. The opponent catches the Poison Fang on Trevenant. Nidoqueen reaches Poison Fang number 2. Despite us getting a buff this season, this still isn't going to do enough damage to secure the knockout. The opponent just tanks all the energy. The Trevenant is pretty low, so we come into our own Trevenant, look for the Shadow Claw farm down. We are going to respect the Shadow Balls. The opponent's only going to make one move. They full send the Shadow Ball and we're spamming out into Nihilego, looking to capitalise on the misaligned switch timer. StaaaL0rd continuing to farm up, opt into no shield. This is probably another blast burn, and my God, that did a lot of resisted damage. The opponent's final Pokemon is Tapu Fini. We're going straight Rock Slide. The opponent calls the bait. Holy crap, huge cojones from the opponent. StaaaL0rd makes Rock Slide number 2. Tapu Fini gonna commit that shield and commit to the water gun farm down. It's now all down to Trevenant. Trevenant comes in. I imagine we're going to shield up the potential Moonblast. That's exactly what we do. The opponent full sends the Moonblast. Tapu Fini gonna get farmed down. We leave at 100 energy. delphox has 1 Protect Shield remaining. However, they've got hardly any HP. We full send the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball goes unshielded. The opponent recognises the game was over. Moving on to the next one. Mirror leads. I'd put my house on saying this opponent's a masturbator. However, StaaaL0rd, not a fan of masturbating, full sends the Shadow Ball. The opponent correctly shields it up. The opponent continuing to overfarm. I'm calling Seed Bomb. StaaaL0rd calls the bait and the opponent gets caught out. StaaaL0rd makes the Seed Bomb. This time we make the charge move on minimal HP. The opponent now 2 shields down. Holy crap. If you're looking for a reason to pack in your masturbating habit, that opening matchup was it. Because my God, going down 2 shields, the opponent's in shambles. We correctly shield up the Shadow Ball. Nidoqueen commits to the jab farm down. And the opponent realises they're in shambles and concede the match. Moving on to the next one. Grumble, pretty neutral matchup, however 2 better responses in the back. And as we're playing an ABB team, we do need to draw out something like Swampert. And that's exactly what we've done here. We tank the Hydro Cannon. Nidoqueen gonna return fire with the Earth Power. As we're a regular, there's no need for the opponent to respect it. That does decent-ish damage. The opponent realises they can't mud shot down, so Swampert chooses to fire off the remainder of their energy. Well, not the remainder. They've still got residual, but this does put the Swampert in a range where Trevenant can come in. Shadow Claw farm all the way down. Swampert going to be making 1 more Hydro Cannon before going down, but Trevenant doesn't need to shield this up. Hydro Cannon does get us into the yellow. We leave with a whole boatload of energy. The opponent sends out Gramble, and again StaaaL0rd full sending it. The opponent shields it up and it's Nihilego time. The opponent's final Pokemon is a Shadow Ampharos. However, down a shield, this is game over. We go straight for the Rock Slide. Even if the opponent shields, we can just double shield and Gramble is not going to make a charge move. The opponent lets it go. I think they've actually just conceded. And that's probably the right thing to do. StaaaL0rd waits a few seconds. However, StaaaL0rd, you could probably wait all day. This trainer is contemplating their lifestyle choices of running a Charmer and thinking they probably should have played something better than that tap-tap nonsense. StaaaL0rd now going for the massive overkill of the Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb going to be enough to kill Gramble and all its relatives. GG's and thanks for playing. Moving on to the next one. Trevenant not picking up a great lead as we see the pivot into Nidoqueen. The opponent is staying in, so we take the opportunity to go straight for the Fang, looking to get off some damage on this Scrafty. Scrafty lets it go. The opponent builds up to a potential foul play. I highly doubt they bait here. Foul play does land and it doesn't do all that much damage. We now see the Charizard come in. Charizard pretty glassy. The opponent might actually shield this. The opponent lets it go. Charizard continuing to farm up energy. Nidoqueen outside of Dragon Claw range. The opponent goes for the bait. No trainer. This allows Nidoqueen to make one more fang. This is definitely forcing a shield off the opponent. We then see the pivot into Trevenant. It looks like Trevenant's going to get completely sacked. Blast Burn will be one shot in. Oh my god. What the heck? Trainer, why are you baiting? This is another dragon. Trevenant now leaves with residual energy. Good to go. However, it's Drapion in the back. So despite the opponent being the world's biggest master baiter, we're in big trouble. Drapion farming up to 1 bazillion energy. There's no point in shielding this up. We're saving 2 shields for Nihilego, hoping we can sweep. We've still got a little bit of Nidoqueen left as well, so it's pretty much Nihilego and 3 shields. We come into Nihilego. Despite having 2 shields, we won't be shielding the first move as Crunch has the chance to lower our defense, and of course the opponent gets a defense drop. But stay in school, kids, learn to count. We make a savage catch, catching the Crunch and resetting our debuff. The opponent now sends out Scrafty and we're going straight for the Hail Mary. Does the opponent respect the damage? No! Boo, Mr. Opponent. We've got 2 shields and we're going to start having to shield up power-up punches. We shield up the power-up punch. We're going to over-farm, fire off the Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb will be one-shot in. The Poison Stings are going to be resisted. Drapion needs to double up on charge moves. They don't make it. We make the Rock Slide and somehow StaaaL0rd pulls off a very unlikely victory. Very nicely done. What an incredible showcase from a top tier battler. Shout out to StaaaL0rd. As I said previously, he did finish second in the Indian regionals and India has a lot of very talented battlers. I believe the reigning Sylph World Champion Vroom Vroom Pal's actually from India. Correct me if I'm wrong. This was the first time seeing Nihilego in action in the Ultra League. It's ranked really low, it's outside the top 200, however it definitely serves a purpose as Ultra League is littered with flyers. The buffed Nidoqueen as well, put in some work. I think the team overall is pretty spicy, pretty fun. If you got these 3 Pokemon, give it a try. So if you're enjoying the content, smash that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing. If you like your battles featured on the channel, link to a battle submission form is down below. And as always, a huge thank you to everyone for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.